I hate how it says it started and then it didn't really start. I think it's working now. Okay. Let's see. Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as Awol. And today, I'm going to try to help out somebody who um, had a question in regards to um, a particular uh, bracelet. Like they couldn't figure out how to get it started, and this is really something I do like all the time. And the whole thing got kicked off by a pattern by Pamela. She made this really cool little bag to be able to hold the iPod um, case thing. I don't know what you call that, but Pamela made this thing, and it was pretty epic. And it's caused a lot of people to want the pattern. And this is what got posted because they couldn't figure out how to start it because the number of the strands are not even, right? Basically, because there's a single red in the whole thing and they couldn't figure out how to actually get it started. So, today I'm going to try to do that as well as prepare a bracelet for myself. I've got a rainbow collection thing here that I'm going to try to figure out. So, this way you can kind of see what I do. This is GIMP. This is a free program to actually be able to um, it's kind of like Photoshop, basically. Oh, and hey, Riley. Cool. Yeah, I know. It's time zones, man. I get it. It's almost impossible to catch me actually live, mostly because of the time zones. So here, let's open up one of these apps here. Open pictures work, and it's this one. All right, and we're gonna leave the resolution kind of low because that way it doesn't make my computer try to keel over and die. Um, let's kind of shrink this down just a bit so I can have this off to the side. So this is exactly the kind of stuff that I do in order to make these things happen. Um, and hopefully this helps you guys because honestly, I think if everybody could just figure out how to do stuff on their own, there wouldn't be it'd be making this whole art thing a whole lot easier. So I need the paint bucket for this, and let's change the colors. We'll use the little color grabber and actually take from the image. So pretty much as I see it, the way this thing sits, I would probably just put the red right over at the very edge like this. Just because it's really easy the way it comes in. Mind you, the whole bag thing is they're trying to mimic Burberry, which is a pretty fancy brand and super expensive and that kind of stuff, right? So ideally, this single version of it isn't exactly the greatest. Um, if you're going to do this, I would say at least double the width and then make it like a tube. That would be awesome. Pattern for the base. Yeah, you know what? I have actually tried considering how to do different bases. The problem is when you're doing a base, you're working in a three-dimensional space as opposed to these, which is two-dimensional, which makes it really super difficult to um, how to draw it, how to you almost have to have like a cube or something perhaps that you could kind of work around and have the pattern on it. And with a computer being very two-dimensional, I really I don't know a way of actually and believe me, I have wanted to um, show how some of the bags were done, how the different bases were made. And to be perfectly honest, I don't know of a single method that would actually allow for that. And that's why I kind of tell people, it's going to come when it comes to making the base, especially like if the bag is like a round base kind of thing. Um, it's super hard to just give the how I do it, how it comes about. I did one for my wife where the bag itself was um it was like having two bases because it was turned sideways. Hey, another familiar name. Hello. That's so awesome. Everybody's coming in today. That's totally cool. Um, yeah, I really do wish there was a way to be able just to use graph paper to actually show how to do the base because believe me, I would be the first one to use it. Um, I have found many a times over that when it comes to actually drawing out the or trying to figure out a base, it's almost impossible. Yeah, looking at the photos might be actually one of the easiest ways. It also so okay, I love how these things end up on their own little whatever. One of the things I've discovered is when you try to tie the knot, if it really seems like you're pulling the whole thing apart, you probably were dropping too many strings at that time. If it doesn't seem like you're doing anything but just adding more knots, then it's probably a case of um, you could have dropped a little bit faster. And it's trying to find that balance that really makes it doable. Hang on. Let's see if I can. Where is? So this bag. What I did was I did a small row going across this way and came all the way to here on both sides. And what I you can kind of see that it was being pulled really tight up for a duration, and then the center it got a little bit sketchy. You can That's why it rises up and is not really super flat. But this was basically doing a base on both sides. And then when I came around, right, so there's this long flat piece going this way. When it got to here, that's where I attached on the kumi, which is just goes into the whole thing. And then there were two pieces where it was just flat, where I just did the lark's head over one of the strands, and that gets joined in. And then here, it's the same thing, except for this part had the kumi, and it joins in that way. So yeah, if there was, I mean, imagine how would I even draw out the graph paper for this? And because you can change it so much, and how quickly you drop or how little I dropped it, that's where it really turns into a case of um, it's almost impossible. But if you really kind of study this one, you might actually get a sense of what it was. Yeah, right. And it's because it only has like the three colors. You can kind of tell like when it got into here, I dropped one of the blues, and then when I got here, I dropped one of the oranges, and then when I got down here, I dropped one of the reds. So Because I know. Right. Yeah. So, yeah, it's over the top complicated. There's no question about it. This is one of the things that, yeah, I'm super proud of, and I've thought about making again. And I have to admit, like, when I start to think like, oh, I did it before, I can do it again, there is still a part of me that goes, are you sure? You got lucky last time. Are you sure you want to do that? Yeah. Um so a large portion of the bags that I made were for a shop, and they're not in my possession. I didn't take a whole lot of photos at the time. I'm not even sure why. Um but yeah, I don't have a whole lot of stuff to go on if I wanted to do something like that. I wasn't doing tutorials at the time. It hadn't really occurred to me that I would ever do tutorials. It wasn't until I wanted to show somebody something specific, and it was just easier for me to record it than to try to find out how we could actually arrange times and stuff. And then, so I just made a video, and I got a pretty decent response. And I was like, maybe I could do this. I don't know. And so now I'm trying. I'm giving the effort. I'm trying to show you guys how I come about my things. And yeah. So okay, so back to this whole Burberry design thing, right? So I basically have this kind of laid out in the same way that um, it was on the other side, on the other picture, right? So the all you have to do is when you make your loop, make sure that you have one single strand of the red, and then for basically each one of these things, just a single strand for all of the different things here. When it comes to all together, let me grab the pencil tool, and yeah, it's huge. When you put the loop together, that one single strand is inside of everything and comes down, so that way that you end up with double the string in here. And if you get used to using your string doubled up, this will be absolutely easy, right? That's the whole, you know, people say, well, why do you double your string? It's it just is so much easier when it comes to so many other projects. And in this case, this is exactly how I do it. And I would be able to pull this off no problem. Again, I would probably have this thing doubled, honestly. I think that where it comes in here, let's see that picture of her little bag again. I think this is brilliant. I love where the red crosses over itself. And on the single version, it's never going to do that. It's just going to bounce back and forth. So I think with a little bit of effort, I think this thing would be pretty simple to do. Um, and I think that if people learned how to actually like take a look at the graph paper, again, I kind of not sure this thing cuts off a bit. I think let's grab the paint tool again. It'd be something like this over here. So you know that these three would be the browns. This blue, I'm assuming, is still going up this way. I'm going to guess. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, so that's where those all cross over. So this white is coming up this direction. I think actually the blue crosses over it, though, kind of makes a thing. Yeah, something to that effect. Um, Again, it's you have to, you know, improvise at times and stuff. Yeah, I love the little bag, and yeah, that was Pamela T, is what she puts on her images. But I know her as Pamela Nye over in the Facebook groups. I don't know. So Same person, just uses two different names. I have no idea. When I drop the bracelets, do you drop them two at a time? Um, okay. So when I'm dropping strings, it is I'm coming across like I'm just doing a regular knot, and I tie that one knot over top of two sets of strings. Because everything's doubled, there's like four little individual strands, and I just tie a knot over top of it. It's kind of like it. Try to envision making a mistake. You Instead of grabbing one, you grab two, and you put a knot over the top of it. Right now, you squish those together, and if you tie that knot really good and tight, the knot size will appear as though it's just a normal knot. When you come around again, I go over that same set at least maybe 2-3 times before sending one down through the middle or to be chopped off. And when you think of like the size of a bag, let's pull up the other example again. Okay. So when you think of it getting like out here, let's say this number was about 300, 350, to come in just a little bit, you probably reduce that number by 10 or 20. Um, or at least maybe one for each one of these little diamonds. So when I came across it, I reduced it by tying off, like, okay, for this one, I got rid of one of the blues. So I put that blue with whatever color was next to it, probably the red, considering the orange is what's being tied here. And after it got like gone over a few times, chopping off that blue thread and then left it orange. And if you really look, you can't see where it happens. And that's the whole beauty of it, is if you do it right, it hides it really, really well. So no, no, no. I kind of appreciate having um, good questions, something to actually talk about. I was gonna totally do this whole thing with trying to figure out the rainbow pattern for myself, as well as the uh, the bag idea thing. But no, I know that you've been trying really hard to catch me in a live chat, and I really hope that you actually achieve it, because if you do, it'll be fascinating to see what you come up with. Because I definitely want more people being able to do these things than just myself, because I think it'd be fun. I All right, there we go. So back to this thing. This is basically what it would end up looking like. That's how you do the single strand off to the side. I did actually use that on the other bag. Hang on. All of these loops follow that same exact method. So, um, when I say that it's not that difficult or whatever, this is what I'm talking about. I've shown it dozens of times. But the thing that surprised me was when the question was raised on how to do that little Burberry bracelet. Um, Almost all the comments said, "Oh, just leave it squared off. You can't do it." Um, like all the comments were just basically nobody offered up a solution, and it left me bewildered. Like I teach this all the time. Like nobody thought that this kind of thing applies. So, yeah, this bag is almost done. I'm going to be working on finishing that here real soon. So hopefully that'll be done in the next, yeah, I don't know, week or so. So many things all at once. All right, let's see. Where was I? So okay, that's the end of that one. I've got a couple of bracelet, um, like it's a 12 different colors in a rainbow. I thought I'd try to see if I could figure out something fun for that. Let's open. Yeah. So again, here's how the graph paper basically starts out, and I have the choice. You know, I made it like this, so that way you guys could actually figure out, like, if you want to make it a loop that comes to the center, or if you want to have that big, like, looks like an eye thing. Oh wait, hang on, what does it say? 272 strings is very respectable. That's that's a pretty decent sized bag. That's I think the one I'm working on right now is 144, and I know my largest was 400. So yeah, you're kind of right there in the middle of that. That's a pretty big bag. So big rainbow. I have no idea. I was kind of thinking. Let me close these out. I was kind of thinking of trying to do something. Let's see. Let's start with a color like red. And the center is here. If I can line that up. Is that right? Wow. Okay. The thing with doing something where you have such long straight rows is the possibility of running out of strings. So I don't want to get myself into a case where I have a big problem. 3 inches by 3 inches. Yeah. Well. Okay. This bag at 100. Oh, you're using like a DMC floss, right? I bet you that's why it looks different. Let's. This one here is. I got a ruler. Yeah, this one here is about 3 inches across. So, and this one's like around. I believe this one's 144, but that's because, again, bigger string. Um, and I know that doesn't make sense that the difference in string doesn't even seem like anything, but it does certainly add up a lot. All right. Actually, if any of you guys have a suggestion for like how I could do this 12 thing rainbow, I figured I would kind of show how I kind of approach this stuff, but I have no idea, man. Yeah, stuff coming out of Amazon typically is just like the Chinese stuff. Yeah, if it's got a 447, then it's probably coming out of the same place that I actually get mine. Um, yeah, that kind of totally sounds like it has to be the same thing. That's funny. Have you considered buying the 447? Like one of everything? Like I definitely recommend it. I would recommend it to anybody who is serious about making bracelets, and then taking and cutting it into either thirds or quarters. I did quarters so that way I could get the most of the string actually into bracelets, and then 3/4 of all of the strings I made into stuff, leaving 1/4 with the little label onto little bobbins, and gave me 2 boxes to actually be able to go through. It makes ordering amazing. Actually, I can actually show that. So this is my collection from the 447. It's one of every single color, and it makes the ability to find a nice fade or a rainbow or pastels or whatever I need. It requires 2 boxes and 447 of these little things to wrap it on. And then you can see, so I put this up here. You can see that I have all the little numbers are attached on there. And that way I can easily find whatever I'm looking for, build up anything I want. It's, like I said, I recommend it to anybody who is serious about making a lot of bracelets. And it keeps me at least a little bit better organized. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Thank you. And all right. Still trying to come up with a pattern over here, though. Let's go back to that. And it's okay. You can go ahead and hit me with questions. I'm still still trying to figure out what I can do with this. Let's do another red. Let's assume that the rainbow is going this way. Yeah, really, I have nothing. I'm totally drawing a blank. But sometimes in a case like this where I'm drawing a blank, I might just go through like Instagram and figure out, see if I spot something like that I want to make. But I have no idea. Yeah, so all the strings that I get from China, actually they do come with the numbers actually on it. But the labels sometimes are different. Some colors have like a an extra label on it, some don't. So it's a little bit mixed, but they always have their numbers. And that is coffee, so much needed. Trying to get the brain in gear here. I could do one of the ones where it kind of changes in the middle. That might be kind of neat. If I take these out. See, back in the day, back when I first created this graph paper, it was literally on graph paper, and I didn't. I was using color pencils, and I'll tell you what, man, those were some rough times, because if you make a mistake, that's it. You got to start over, and I tell you, it gives you a proper sense of motivation for getting it right. Yeah, 12 rainbow colors. It's 2 reds, 2 orange, 2 yellow, 2 green, 2 complicated. And I kind of thinking what I might do. You ever see the ones where the colors come through from the other side? Kind of looks kind of neat. I think I could do something like that. Hang on, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Oh, but I'd have to make it red, 2 reds. Oh no, I could do this. I know I can do this. All right. Just separate the hots and the cold colors. Yeah. One of the tricks when trying to design out something is getting the colors onto here the right way. So what I'm going to do is I'll let the colors, the hot colors, all be to one side and the cold colors to the other side. And that way, when the cold colors are coming through, they can create their own whatever. And I've done this kind of pattern in various ways in the past. But I think what I could do is kind of show you how I could come up with these things. So let's say maybe between here and here, we have the cross colors coming through. And then we do the same on the other side as well. So let's see what the other colors look like. Yeah, what time is it for you? And I have no idea how to actually Carmo Pie. Maybe I just call you 78. So what time is it over there? I have no idea. I love the creativity in names, but I'm just terrible at knowing how to say. Actually, let's back. Oh. Let's back that up. Let's, if this is going to be that purple, it's going to show up right there. One, purple, purple, blue, blue, green, green, purple. That would come through here. So something to that effect. And then just work it out. Second purple. And this is kind of, these ones are easy because basically all the colors are just moving in a straight row. So you almost don't even have to put down what's going on with the other part. So let's see, there's 1, 2, 3 on the outside. So then that stripe goes here, and this is for 4. 1, 2, 3. So there's the other side of it. So this purple would again be, whoops, here. Did I have that right? No, I'm off by 1. Oh no, this is off by 1. That's the problem. Following straight lines by eyeballing it is not exactly my biggest there. Something to that effect. What do you guys think? 23:38. Oh, 11:30 at night. Oh yeah, that's a good creative hour. That's a great time to be actually working. 10:40. Yeah, I'm a bit of a night person myself. That's why it is about 12:30 here, and this is about as early as I can basically get up because I'm up half the night working on stuff. I actually have a cold brew coffee here today, which is absolutely going down marvelously. So, yeah, I kind of like this beginning of a pattern that we got going on over here. Normally, when I've played around with this thing before, I would have gone and made the stripe down the middle, but I think actually having it separated so much, I think this is kind of fun. And you can see basically how I'm able to pick up the colors so quickly and easily is I'm using the control key. So if you're using the paint bucket and you push the control key, it becomes the color picker. So it just makes it that much faster. Basically get your colors down on the paper and then you can just kind of do this. By right, I should be doing over on this side as well, but this just seems a little bit quicker, a little bit easier. At some point here, though, I can't be on too late, probably another 20 minutes or so. I'm going to have to go and make sure that Dad gets his lunch and that kind of stuff, but yeah. Yeah, Riley, it seems like he's going to be like on the ball for making stuff. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he comes up with. That's I think this is awesome. I love my followers. You guys are absolutely the best. You guys come up with just amazing stuff. You never cease to amaze me. Okay, so freestyling, absolutely. Early days of bracelet making, that was pretty much all I was doing. And there's a certain skill that you can get from it. And so here's what you try to do. Find where your halfway point is. Let's say your bracelets are 16 centimeters, right? Go completely crazy with it up until about the 7 cm mark, and then put in a diamond right in the center. And then here comes the trick. A diamond will reverse the sequence of the colors, so everything is exactly in the same position, just backwards. Then try to your best to make it come out exactly the opposite on the other side. It will challenge how your thinking works. It'll challenge what you're looking at. It'll challenge your memory as to how did you do a left right knot or a right left. It will totally challenge the way you think about making bracelets. And if you can get the two sides symmetrical, great. Try it again. It it's hard. It's completely hard, but what you will gain from it will be the ability to almost just look at any pattern and be like, okay, I get it. Because you're forced to try to figure out what's going on inside. It changes the way you function with your work. So yeah, freestyle, do it. Totally do it. But try to make it symmetrical. Just going completely nuts with no aim or whatever is kind of a waste of your talent. It's sure you could do it, but then again, anybody could. Oh, my bad. I always okay. I can't wait to see what she's making. I'm sorry. I was thinking that looked like a guy's name. I apologize. So purple, purple, purple. Let's see, this blue goes up here. Then this blue. Green and this green. These to make these little border things, you just basically hold down your mouse and slide it over, and that can give you the straight lines for being able to make sure that you keep everything all lined up. It's I wasn't always this good at GIMP, but now that I am, I I think it's so much easier to do pretty much everything that I do. Again, I'm just using the control key to pick up the colors as I go along. It is basically all math based. Um, and that makes it really sad because I'm terrible at math. uh, I really truly am. And it is what it is. I'm know your weaknesses, right? I find that I often have to do more things on paper like this than if I, just to sort it out because I am bad at math. I like math. I like math because it's less complicated than other things like sciences and whatever else, or even spelling, because two and two is always going to be four. There's no mixing that up kind of thing. But when it comes to when it starts to get complicated, when it starts to become, well, hang on, let's flip back to this thing. This is obviously some form of geometry or trigonometry or something that gets really super complex, and how to represent it, how to actually even determine the number of how. I'm pretty sure like the sine and cosines, those ones, because of the speed at which the strings drop off changes. I'm sure that there's something in there mathematically that actually explains how that works. But for the life of me, I have no idea what it is. I have no way of expressing it, and because I don't know how to do it, it's it's terribly frustrating for me. I really have no way. If I could express it in numbers at least, then I could, create a tutorial and give some kind of idea as to what is happening. But that's, yeah. A Remington? Like, wasn't there a TV show, Remington Steel? That's a fun name. I can't remember what the show was now. I just remember the name. That's hilarious. That was like, oh, that's probably like way before you were born. Like, showing my age again. All right, so let's see. Back to that one. Yeah, I'm not sure. I kind of like it. I think there's definitely room for. Let's try a different way. Open recent. I was just thinking that if let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you put the two reds together, it might actually come out kind of cooler. Just because if you went like the two darkest reds, then, well, hang on, just steal it from the other one. And then went this way with it, it might actually, because one of the things I'm noticing here that I don't like is that as this green comes through, it's really close to this green. And that, I think, kind of takes away from it. So maybe change out the way the colors work. Maybe go like this kind of a pattern instead. Whoops. So yeah, this is the kind of stuff like on days where I just don't feel like doing knots. This is the kind of stuff you might find me doing instead, is trying to find a pattern that I particularly like, or that I, and it can be as fancy as you want, complicated as you want, or as simple as you want. You don't have to follow anybody else's lead if you choose not to. And I think for me, that's one of the biggest things out of all this is the ability to put your own spin on something and do it I mean, realistically, most of this is I only had to go this far before I realized, nah, I probably don't like it. I could maybe change the width or where these things lie, or just change up the colors in general, like I'm kind of playing with, and then build it. I don't have to. I don't have to go all the way to the end. There's no need to um, make a pattern all the way, because the most important part about a pattern is knowing how to start your strings and knowing where things zig or zag, kind of, just getting you started. Once you're started, especially if you created the pattern yourself, you should probably have a pretty good clue as to what's going to happen with it. So let's grab the red again. Let's bring this down, see where this goes. So if the red is at the center of this one, perhaps the purple can be the center of the opposing side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There and there. I think I made that one too big. If you need to move these little marker things, you just use this move tool and it'll pick them up and shift them around for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I don't have much longer here because food should be delivered here any time now. And I have to get lunch for my father-in-law. The helper's there, but I kind of don't like having to make her do everything. She helps out enough as it is, so. But I've had totally a lot of fun here today. You guys are absolutely the best. I had a chance to actually play with my new this thing. How cool is that? And got a chance to show off some other cool stuff. Any questions before I take off here? Yeah, I try not to actually watch her stuff because there's a whole lot in this community about people copying people, and I don't watch her stuff so that way I don't get inspired and end up sounding like or doing things that she does, as I would hope that she doesn't really follow mine. And I don't know where she comes up with the names for stuff, because I've seen that over in the Facebook thing about like all these weird names for stuff. I don't know where that all comes from. Um, Mind you, I've been making bracelets before there was internet, so I didn't have names kind of laid out for stuff. But yeah, okay. Refracted chevron. Yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense. I have one on my wrist actually. Here, switch to the other camera. But this was made out of, let's see if we can it zoom? No. This was made out of thread that has been put together. I wish I would focus there. It was made out of thread that was put together by spinning it. Uses like a little motor and stuff. Spins the string around, and so there's like 8 individual bits of thread in each one of these things, and some of the colors